Okay, so at this point in time, you should have most of your still life drawn. Now, I'm going to go ahead and be using mostly this little bit of an orange pastel that I have available right here. Now, we're not going to be doing anything too complicated in order to add color. You don't want to add a whole lot of color to your project because you want the focus to be on the charcoal. So in order to finally finish up this project, and we've been on it for a while, what we're going to do is we're just going to add small little sections of highlights. Now, it's not going to be 100% perfect, and you're not going to go in super dark. Now, in this case, I chose this orange specifically because my initial object that I was working with is more of a light brown. So I'm choosing this orange because, as you can see, as I work on the charcoal, I'm going to go ahead and go on the back so you can see how bright it is normally. But when you go onto charcoal, it's not as bright. It's more of a gray tone. And that's exactly what I wanted. Now, you can use whichever color is associated with yours, and that's up to you. I'm just going to go in and add a couple little highlights here and there, following the outlines of my figure and the main areas of the project. Now, notice I'm not putting it on the entire thing. I'm not putting it over here. I'm putting it only on the major areas where there would be most of the whites. Okay? The reason for this is because you want it to be an accent to your project and not take over. Now we're going to go back over it with a little bit of charcoal a little bit later, but you want to use the corner of your pastel as much as you can and just kind of fill in those white spaces as best as you can. Now, the brighter and cleaner a space is, the brighter your color is going to turn out. Now, it doesn't have to be 100% realistic or 100% matching at this point. So you just want it to be, again, just an accent color. You don't want it to be 100% filled in. You're just putting in just a few lines here and there of the color to give the general idea. Now I have most of it on there. I still have some of my fingers, and I'm going to go ahead and use this to just blend that color down and into those spaces. Notice I didn't even put any in this spot right here. I'm just going to blend those colors out, fill those in, and follow the basic shape of my figure. Once you have done that, you're going to go ahead and get your charcoal once again. And now this is where you get to add your finished spots. So now I'm going to go ahead and add those little bolts in there. I'm going to add those dark shadows, dark outlines over the top of my color to really make those spaces pop. Now, if you have a section that you want it to be a little bit brighter, just press down a little bit harder and you can go ahead and have those bright lines. You're going to go back over it with the charcoal to really put in those dark lines and dark spaces. This is the final touch-up for the project. This is where you're going to put all those little tiny details. Now, in this case, I'm going to use this to add the little nut and bolt right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just erase just a little bit to really make that spot pop. Now I'm using a mechanical pencil eraser. You can use any eraser you have available. You might have one of these. You might have a kneaded eraser. So if you're using a kneaded eraser, give me just one moment. I'm not sure where mine has run away to. There it is. If you're using a kneaded eraser, you want to go ahead and knead it to a nice fine point to just push down and pick up the color just in those spots that you want to remove the color on. So if you want an area brighter, this would be the way to go in and erase those lines. Get a couple little nice bright spots in there. Add your finalized details, And once you're happy with your drawing, then you can go ahead and take a picture and turn it in. Now, I'm still adding a couple extra little details in here. And remember, you don't have to do the entire thing, just to get the general idea. You can go, one thing I will go ahead and say is that if you're having some issues getting certain details in, feel free to exaggerate some of those shadows, because sometimes in order to really make the shapes look right, you have to make them look a little bit more drastic in terms of the shadows than you originally have in your drawing. Now, again, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. You want to just have the idea of your shapes. Make sure to add some of your cross hatching back in if it's been erased at all. So like right here, I don't have any more of my hatching, but I'm going to go ahead and put that back in. And then fill in this space right underneath to really bring out that shadow. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. It does wash out. Don't be worried about getting it perfect either. This is meant to be a little bit more of a sketchy sort of thing. Now, once you have finished your project, make sure you have turned it in and you have signed your name. But only once you are happy with it. At the end of class today, I should expect to see your final project. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am 100% willing to help you and answer you in any way that I can. But if you do not ask me, I cannot help. I am here for you if you need me. Alrighty, and I hope you enjoyed this project, and we will be moving on to another project tomorrow.